Ameenah Gurib-Fakim, your thoughts on what India is doing, and countries like India, even China, have developmental requirements. Same with Mauritius. As the president, I'm sure you've seen this firsthand, the challenges that climate change poses to you and your people. So you have to find a way to balance the two. How do you think these countries are doing?
First of all, I just pick up to what Erik has just said. The approach that the global south and India, Asia, of course, and China, I think the approach is that we are very much part of the ecosystem and that we need to start respecting nature, and the solutions will be, of course, in nature. But you mentioned something about the challenges of climate and how India and in most Asian countries, even China, are tackling. I think the plan is there. There is a game plan to address this. I think many of the rising emerging economies, of course, India is one of them, they have a plan. But I have a but. We are all integrated in the global economy. And this, of course, is the lifeblood of any country, is to see to it that trade increases so that jobs can be created. And my concern is that because of the competition, because of the moving geotectonic plates around the world, especially now that India and China are rising, is that there could be a break to this rise. And the break will come because when we start tying down trade to the climate. It's a good point, but there is a downside to it. It can become a break. I mean, also have to bring in Africa, because this is where I hail from, is that there will be a tendency to link up trade to cleaner technologies. And those countries that haven't played catch up, they will find big problems in terms of precisely benchmarking themselves to that level to see to it that trade happens. And that's what I fear will be the tendency moving forward. And I think this is where I think India, I'm sure, is already mindful of the way that she's going to progress in the future, because India is set to become, of course, now we are fifth, is going to be, of course, higher in the ranking of emerging economies. So this is something that has to be borne in mind.
You mentioned the debate on who is going to take responsibility, and that also brings us to the point of historical responsibility, and there are countries that have contributed more to emissions. Do you think that's a valid point that the global south makes, and do you feel let down by rich countries that do not put their money where their mouth is?
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at the continent of Africa, it has been less than 3% in terms of global emission. The global north has been 25% as we speak. There has been an initiative to capitalize the fund, and here I make a pledge for more funds for adaptation. And where we are falling short is that the needs of the global south, excluding China, is $1 trillion per year. And I don't see any country or any institution that is able to actually match and bring forward this amount of fund. So this will be the race. And again, the 100 billion which has come on board since Paris hasn't been capitalized. We still have a gap. And if you look at 100 billion in the world global economy of 100 trillion, it's not a lot. But I don't see the will or the appetite to take this risk to help poorer countries adapt. And this is where we are failing, because the future of the world will depend on the growth in the global south. And of course, the prosperity in global south matters. If you take one item like immigration, we find that how much this is impacting, of course, the global north and, of course, the global south economies.
You make interesting points. And you were telling me earlier that you believe that Indian culture is the best suited for climate action. Do you want to tell our audience about that? Sorry, Indian culture, you said, is better suited.
Look, the old Brits had a, to put it mildly, very unfavorable view of the Hindu Dharma, or the traditional Indian culture. They saw it as a second-rate religion with any number of millions of gods, didn't take it seriously at all. Then switched to 2024, and Hindu Dharma looks like the most modern of all religions. Why? Because, look, in Christianity, while there is a strong drive to protect nature in Christianity, still the perspective is always that the human being is superior. Human being is superior to nature. While in Hindu Dharma, man is part of nature. Man is in nature. And that now looks such a modern perspective And the old Indians, they venerated nature. They did it even to the extent of making God half animal, half human. I mean, Ganesh, half elephant, half human, Hanuman, half monkey, half human. And can there be a stronger signal of the unity of man, humans, and nature than making God half nature, half human? So what the Brits spoke so negatively about 100 years ago is now looking as the most modern of all global thought systems.